Classic Tales is the part of the show where I tell you about one of my life experiences. I dig deep in the Disney vault and I pull something out to entertain you. This happened 2 years ago. I've done this trip a lot. I always partner with a local car dealership here in town, and they partner with an animal rescue organization, and we do a pet rescue mission, which is like one of my most favorite things. But this is like an extreme pet rescue mission, because down on the Navajo reservation, there are a ton of homeless animals. Animals that get away, animals that end up in shelters, and unfortunately, it's a huge, the Navajo Nation is big, and they only have like 4 shelters to deal with all of these animals. So every year, I partner with this animal organization. We go down, we help the shelters out as much as we can, because those poor people work so hard, but it's overwhelming. And we help them clean, and we pack up the animals, and we end up every year taking like over 100 animals back home. And we do this because the car dealership owner flies us on his private plane, which is pretty rad. I promise the story isn't me just bragging about how incredible I am, but you gotta know the context to get the rest. I've done this every year since like 2017, and the first year actually is where I adopted my little puppy dog Hoodoo, who I'm pretty sure is half coyote. The jury is still out because I don't know who could DNA test him for coyote blood, but if anyone knows anyone, that would be actually just swell. We didn't do it last year because of Corona, but the year before that was a really big deal. We flew a bunch of people out to the reservation, and we had a ton of press there, including local celebrity Big Budah. Fox 13's Big Budah was on the airplane. I'm not a strong flyer. I don't like it. And I don't know if you've ever been like on a small personal aircraft. They're terrifying. They're small, and the wind will just throw you around the sky. You pretend you have control back there behind the little pilot joystick, but you don't know what's happening. The sky has plans for you, and usually it's to throw you to the earth as soon as possible. So it's turbulent, to say the least. We've got tons of the animals, and we've loaded them all up, and we're heading back home. And of the years that I've done this, this is the worst turbulence I've ever experienced in my life. Like, it is taking everything in me not to choke back tears, because it was so scary. And I see Buddha across the way, and he's white knuckle in the armrest, and we're just trying to get through this together. And there are 100 dogs back there screaming and pooping all over the place, so it smells and it sounds fantastic on top of it. And that's when I made the most awful realization anyone has to make. My death in this situation would not matter. Buddha has been on television since I was a child. Like, I grew up watching Big Buddha on the TV before I went to school every morning. He's a local legend. Everyone knows Big Buddha. And it was an aircraft full of 100 puppies. So if this plane goes down, it is not going to be, oh, Jackson Carter, radio celebrity, struck down in his prime, like it should be. It's gonna be Big Buddha and 100 puppies went down. Oh, also some guy. Big Buddha's the bigger name. You never want to be on the plane with someone who's got a bigger name than you, because then you're going to get forgotten. They'll be like, oh yeah, what happened to Jackson? I don't know, something with dogs? Oh, he got mauled, didn't he? Yeah, he definitely got mauled, which sounds like the way I'm going to die for sure. Luckily, the plane touched down, and I vowed that day to never get on a small airplane again, and we're really cautious of big ones too. And then this bullshit happens to me like a month ago. I get on an airplane to fly to Texas, and as we're getting on, the pilot was like, oh, you guys are so lucky. This is the maiden voyage. This plane's never been flown on a commercial flight before. I'm like, can we get one that's been on like 10 or something? I don't want to be the first ever if it's something that I have no control over. I don't want to be the first in the sky. I want to be like the 190th person in the sky who's been on this plane and knows that it is sound. I'm sitting there terrified of this, and then suddenly the captain gets on. He's like,
oh, we're gonna have to deplane everybody. It's fine. We just noticed that there was something wrong with it, so we're gonna have to get everyone off the airplane.
So we leave for an hour. We come back on. We start taking off, and I feel like a rumble, and then it just immediately shuts down, and the pilot's like,
folks, we're gonna stay on the runway here for a second. We just got to get a call from our folks over in the home office. Stay tuned.
And then they leave us there for another half hour, sitting on the runway, terrified that nothing good was going to happen when we got in the sky. And I sat on that airplane for 3 hours, just like, at least Big Budah's not here.